Hey guys, it's Dommy, and I'm going to be reviewing an ebook that I received free from Thomason, and it's called Free Yourself from the Diet Language by Ayelet, Kalter. And I was super excited to have the opportunity to review this book, mainly because I've always been interested in the whole diet language, honestly. That's what they call it. And not so much the products associated with dieting, but the psychology of it. And I mean, from the time we're kids, we're taught about dieting. We're taught the difference between fat and skinny, healthy and unhealthy. And I mean, regardless of people want to say, I mean, we've all been, in school where, we pick on the fat kid, or we're like, oh, you're so fat, you stink, you can't even run. And, we make the fat kids try to run and catch us, knowing damn well they can't catch us, and laugh about it. I mean, it's instilled into us since we're kids. And a lot of times it's just something that's, not necessarily that's natural, but what we're taught and what we see and what we hear. And so they talk about being obese. Excuse me. They talk about being obese and health, and they talk about all the different studies and stuff. And one of the things they do speak on, and I do have to mention this because I have a story about this. A lot of us have been hearing more about our BMI instead of our weight. And funny thing is, I'm 128 pounds, and a while back I was very interested in doing egg donation. And I never was into it, but I saw how much money I could make, and I love those dollar signs. I was like, I'm gonna be balling after I donate all my eggs. I was ready to just give all my eggs away. But one of the second things is that I talked with a lot of women that I've been coming in contact with over the years, and some of them are have fertility issues. And, being able to really converse with them and talk with them about it kind of opened my eyes to the whole egg donor thing. So I went ahead and I applied for some, and I'm not going to put these names out there of the places I wanted to work with, but if any of you guys have tried this or know about it, some of them have pre-screeners, okay? Some of them just want to know your medical history, as long as you don't have bad background or whatever, you're fine. But some of them ask you questions such as your height, your weight, all this stuff. Well, I filled out the form and everything, and then at the end they denied me. And I was like, why did they deny me? And they said my BMI was too high. I was like, well, first off, what is a BMI? And I didn't understand it. And how they calculated it was my weight and my height. So I said, that's weird. And so I called, and two places did this, because two different companies have the same type of screener. So when I called them, I was like, I'm quite confused as to why I got denied. I said, I'm petite. I'm a size 4. Okay, I shop in the petite section. I think the average size for a woman is 10, 14, something like that. So I'm not even in the 2 digits. I'm a size 4. And so anyway, I'm talking to the lady, and she's like, well, did you do your application online? Yeah. So she had all my information. She's like, yeah, your BMI is too high. Your weight's a little too high. I was like, well, what weight would I have to be to donate some eggs? And she was like, and she said, maybe around 115 pounds. 115 pounds. Now, I'm trying to get down to my 125 weight that I've been since I've been in college, and that's an issue that I have with myself when it comes to freeing myself from the diet language, because I have this theory, or just, this mindset that I need to be the same weight I was before, even though my hips expanded and everything else expanded as it should have. I feel like I need to be 3 pounds lighter. But anyway, so I told her, I said, well, 115 pounds. I'm thinking to myself, that's like 10, under, 10 under my weight. And I'm thinking, like, that's skinny. And I mean, not necessarily skinny, but I'm just saying, like, I'm pretty healthy. Like, my doctor says my BMI, everything checks out. I'm good to go. And then they're telling me I'm too fat, which that's technically what they were saying. They were pretty much saying I'm too fat to give my eggs to anybody. So that's kind of insane. So anyway, I was not too happy about that. I was very taken aback. And yeah, they kind of discouraged me. I was like, I'm not doing this. Because I was like, if I'm not going to keep going through this, I'm not going to lose weight just to donate some eggs. I'm healthy. I'm not going to starve myself just so I can donate some eggs, okay? So I didn't do that. That's my story of BMI. It's really, really weird. And then they just recently came out with a study saying that they had a lot of people's BMIs are completely wrong when they do it online, because you can have all these different people, the same height and same weight, but everybody's BMI is going to be a little different. So they just started talking about that. But anyway, so they talk about that. And then there's just so much in this book. Oh, another thing that I love, they talk about how the whole sizes have changed over time. And they also discuss how, like, each country, of course, has their perception of what's beautiful when it comes to women. And so, like, right now, you see a lot of women, especially these entertainers, they're getting big booties. Everybody's booties is just blowing up, okay? A few years back, it was not hot to have a big booty. That was like, that was not beautiful. They were telling women to get rid of your butt. They were getting, like, sucking all the fat out their butt. Now these same women got to go back and put that fat back in their butt. It's always different. It's constantly changing. At one point, if you guys remember, like Pamela Anderson, she was just curvy. She had the hourglass shape. If you remember, they talk about some of the portraits that these artists used to draw way, way back in the day. And, hi. So they talk about these portraits that these artists used to draw, like, way back in the day, and these women were very busty. They had slim waists and everything, but they were considered beautiful, okay? And now it's just like, you gotta be thin, you gotta be this. But let me tell you, being thin is going out, okay? Because not only are these women getting, butt injections and everything like that, but remember, they used to say, well, you need to have a flat stomach, no rolls, no anything. Well, now women with a little bit of tummy is coming back in. And so all you women who were throwing up your food, becoming anorexic and getting flat tummies, you need to start eating chicken wings and macaroni cheese and everything, because women with, juicy tummies are back in now. So, but anyway, so, I mean, they just talk about so much stuff. I just absolutely love the book, and it definitely is all factual. That's what I love about it. It's not just necessarily, stop. It's not just necessarily just an opinion. I mean, all this stuff in the book, they're facts. The way we think, the way we choose to diet, our mindset, everything. And so, let's see, some of the other things here in the book, and I'm just going to go through a few. I'm in the contents. I'm just going to go through a few things that really struck me. So like I said, they talked about that. They talk about discrimination. Of course, as you guys know, bigger people are always discriminated against, and it's kind of sad because some of them have had medical issues, and so they can't help it, and it's pretty sad because I've known a few people who are big and they eat way healthier than I do, exercise way more than I do, but they're just big. They have health issues. They talk about mindful eating, which is awesome. And one of the things they talk about is, which I thought was pretty cool, and this happened to me a few times, just eating because food is there. Just eating because my dog is doing just everything in the world right now to get my attention. Anyway, just eating because food is there, or because, like some people just eat because they have nothing else to do. But I noticed for me, if I eat breakfast, okay, I'm not one of those people who do breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, dessert. I'm just not one of those people. I can't do that. I only eat when I'm hungry. But there was a time where I was doing the whole breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I would notice if I ate breakfast in the morning, I'd snack throughout the entire day. And it wasn't necessarily because I was hungry. It was just I kept snacking, and there was times I was like, why am I eating so much? I'm not even hungry. But I'd see food, and I just crave it. And so it took me a while to wean myself off of that. And to tell you how I weaned myself off of it is Slim Fast protein shakes. I'm probably a hypocrite because I'm supposed to be freeing myself, right? But I didn't use that. A lot of women use that to diet. I used it more so I wasn't snacking throughout the entire day, because they say it's better to snack than eat whole meals, but the way I was snacking, I mean, that was just insane. And so it helped me cut back on snacking so much. Now I just eat whenever I'm hungry, and a lot of people think it's insane that I do that. They're like, you don't eat breakfast? Or, sometimes it'll be like 12 o'clock. You haven't eaten all day? It's 12 o'clock, and they're like on their third meal. And I'm like, well, that's probably why you haven't lost any weight, because you're on your third meal at 12 o'clock p.m. But anyway, again, freeing myself from the diet language. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I've been doing as far as weight loss is concerned. And, it's not really mainly because at one point I was eating very different to lose weight, because I had gained some weight at one point. I gained weight really fast, and then I lost weight really fast, and then it happened again. And so it was just, now it's just me, especially just wanting to eat healthier to take care of my body. Not so much that I'm trying to look like a stick figure. I feel like I'm very healthy where I am. My doctor says I'm very healthy where I am. And so, for me, it has nothing to do with weight loss. I'm not really stuck in the whole what you're supposed to look like to be considered beautiful. I feel like I don't have to. I really don't have to work hard, to force somebody to think I'm beautiful. I can care less of what people think about me or how I look. But for me, it's all about health. Health is my main concern. And that's one of the things that people don't understand. A lot of people are dieting the wrong way. So, for example, they mention anorexia and people being too thin. And while I'm saying that, the whole BMI thing, when I was trying to do the egg donations, on one of the websites, they had photos, and they showed, they had an event, and they showed their egg donors and stuff like that, and all these women looked like they were a size 2. And like I said, it discouraged me, because I said, you have women here that, are trying to do something for a good cause, and you're not letting them. But then when they see these pictures, that's discouraging for a woman who has some meat on her bones to realize she can't donate some eggs because you only take size 2s, or at least that's what you're portraying in your pictures on your website. But anyway, so it's just a lot of people have this perception, like I said, of what's beautiful, what's thin, what's too big, and it's not healthy. That's one of the main points in this book, that the diet language, forcing yourself to be a certain weight, trying to live up to expectations, not being comfortable in your own skin, all that stuff is extremely unhealthy. And can you stop? Gosh, my dog is just anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, talking about being too thin and stuff. The main thing about it is that, they're not being healthy. And one of the things people don't understand is that when you're dieting and you're not dieting in a healthy way, you're actually hurting your body. And one of the ways they talk about hurting your body is suffering. And whether you're obese or whether you're thin, these people are still struggling, and it's the whole diet language is still leading to depression, which ends up going to suffering. And so I think that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about this book, is that most books that I've kind of skimmed through or read about when it comes to the psychology of dieting, they focus on people who are obese. That's the whole book. But where this book focuses on everybody, both the obese, the people who are petite, the people who are really skinny, like a size 0, they really go back and show you how what's beautiful has changed over time. And then they even mention about beauty depends on the country you're from. Like they talked about like Europe, and certain places in Europe, I think they mentioned Italy or something like that, or certain parts of Italy where back in the day, women who were very thin, means skinny, very skinny, were considered beautiful, and they would portray that in their portraits. And they say you could really tell what kind of women was considered, what kind of women were considered beautiful by looking at different countries' portraits. Some countries, if you look at their portraits, these women, they were just, beautiful, curvy, vivacious, and this country was one of those countries. If you look back, a lot of the women, they had hips. They had, they were packing, okay? They had some rolls and everything. And so, but it's, a lot of people don't really understand that history. And I think to really understand the diet language, you kind of have to understand the history of how we became, people who are so, so people who are just so wrapped up in beauty and what makes us beautiful. And it's a sickness. That's the whole thing this book is about. And it's an excellent book. I absolutely love it. And I think anybody, whether you're somebody who wants to get into dieting, or just anybody who's just interested in the psychology of dieting, or a lot of history in here, history too about how dieting came about, the different dieting in countries and so forth. This is an excellent book for that. They talk about at the end mindful eating. So at the end, it kind of helps people, like for me, who is just snacking all the time, how to, when it comes to dieting, if that's what you want, how to eat, okay, and not overeat or undereat. How to actually, mindful eating, staying on the right track, eating healthy, not necessarily starving yourself or taking supplements or taking shots of those little, with those protein shots and stuff like that. They also talk about emotional hunger, which is something that is very, 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 very big. A lot of people eat when they're emotional, and one of the things, and this reminded me of an article I had seen a long time ago about how women, you ever notice when, a guy breaks up with you, what do? We went for cookies and ice cream. And this happened to me a long time ago. I got me a big old thing of ice cream, and my cousin was like, what are you doing? You don't even eat ice cream like that. I got a whole half gallon of Breyer's ice cream. And I thought to myself, he's totally right. I don't really eat ice cream like this at all. So why am I eating this ice cream? And have you ever noticed, if you watch movies, anytime a breakup happens, what do you see? A woman with a whole big thing of ice cream. If her girlfriends come over, they bring ice cream. And so it's like somehow just stuck in our head that when something like that happens, a breakup happens, that ice cream is the way to go. So a lot of this stuff is like, in our subconscious, we don't do it because we really want to do it. We do it because society puts that in our mind. So it was just very interesting when they talked about that. But emotional hunger, there's a lot to emotional hunger. There are people that just eat when they are depressed. And there's a lot of bigger people that they do eat when they're depressed. And one of the things it talks about in this book is how the reason why it leads to suffering is because when they're big, they're eating, and with them eating, it doesn't help them lose weight. They're just staying the same weight, or they're getting bigger. So they're getting more depressed. And they just keep eating, and eating. And so they talk about that, dealing with emotional hunger. It's just a great book. There's just so much in there. I know I can't go through everything, but I definitely highly recommend this ebook. It's amazing. I think it's a must read for just anyone. The book is not as short as some of the other books that I've reviewed, but it is a great, great book. There's a lot to learn, and not just necessarily for, like I said, not just necessarily for people who are obese or a little bigger, but for people of all sizes. Even if you have that mindset where you don't necessarily care about dieting and weight loss and stuff like that, it's just a really perfect read. So, like I said, highly recommend this book. And I don't know, I thought out of a lot of the books out there that I've read, I think this is definitely one of the best books, because they really go in depth and they kind of go back in history. Like, it's not just all about today, it goes way back in time. And so by the end of the book, you really get that, understanding of how the whole diet language came about and how it's evolved, not just in this country, but in other countries as well. So I'm not going to talk anymore. Like I said, great book. Definitely recommend it. I'll put the link if you want to get the book, the ebook, on Amazon. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask me about the book. But I'm sure you're going to go ahead and order and get your own copy, so you won't have to ask me. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more reviews.